Hello, I'm here with Vera. My name is Steve, and we've been talking as part of our community in action course to find out a bit about what life was like as a young teenager. Now, this is Vera, is that right? Yes. And how old are you, Vera?
Now, 94.
Yes, 94 years old. So we've got a few people in their late teens on this programme. So,
yeah.
So how old were you when the war broke out?
17.
17. So
Yeah.
you'd have quite vivid memories of what happened in the war. Now I know when we was chatting last week, you mentioned you had the story which was, well, it's quite a personal story, isn't it?
They used to come over every night, and daytime. They'd come over. You could see them right miles up in the air, like little dots, fighting. And anyway, I used to go out with my boyfriend, and we used to go to the pictures, and it was quite a walk. And we used to go to the pictures, and when we come out, on the way home, the warning used to go, and we used to run in any shelter we could find,
I suppose you were all in it together at that time, wasn't it? And
well, then this particular night that we were bombed, my father used to get home about 4:30 because we went out early in the morning, and we had our tea, and then about 6 o'clock the warning went. So my mother said, "Oh, come on, let's go down the shelter." So we went down the shelter, my mum and me and my father, and then while we were down there, my boyfriend came, and we was down the shelter, and then they came over, and they were bombing, and we kept saying, "Oh, that one was near, and that one was near," because the ground used to shake. The ground used to shake. And then after a while it went quiet. So my father said, "Oh, let's get out of the shelter and see what's going on." So we got out, we was talking to our neighbours when my father said, "Come on, you better get back in, they're coming back again." So my mother got in and she laid on the floor on the flock bed. I sat on one of the bunks, and my boyfriend got in one of the bunks, and my father was just getting in as it all blew up.
Well, the shelter?
Yeah.
What, just disintegrated?
Yeah. Like all twisted.
Right, so let me get this right.
Yeah.
So there was yourself, your mum, your dad, and your boyfriend all in the shelter, and it blew up?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the crater was a massive, great big crater. I can see it today. Massive, great big crater. And anyway, I could see my father laying there, and I said to somebody came, I don't know who it was, a man to get us out. And I said, "Take my father first, he's there." Anyway, he didn't. He said, "He's gone," and of course he took me out, and I walked over all these gardens because all their fences were down. Walked over these gardens to a house further along the road, and took me through, and they took me in an ambulance to the hospital at the end of my road, which was a fever hospital, which before the war used to take children with diphtheria and scarlet fever and all that. But they were taking people in, as an emergency. And I went in there, and I didn't know what happened to anybody else. And my mother and my sister and her husband next door, they were injured, and they all went into Hackney Hospital. See, and I went into this other one, and my boyfriend died. He died because he lost so much blood. He died because I could hear the blood pumping when I was in the shelter. My mum was laying on the floor, and I think he got knocked on top of her, and I could hear blood pumping. But they took me away, you see, and took me off. So I didn't know really what happened after that.
So you had no knowledge of what happened to any of your family, really?
No, they took me into this hospital. My mother they took into the Hackney Hospital, and my sister and her husband went in the Hackney Hospital. And their little girl of 5 was found wandering in a block of flats the next day. And it wasn't till the next day, and I come to, I'd got bandaged head, and I got shrapnel in the back, and I had these curlers went in my head, and I had my hair cut off.
Yeah, is that because they melted?
The blast.
The blast had blown them.
And of course then one of my other sisters came, and she said that my father had died. Well, I knew that, and she said he'd died and my boyfriend had died. And then my boyfriend's relations came and saw me and that, and my 2 brothers come back out of the forces. They'd only just gone into forces, and they came back, and they had to, see to the funeral of my father. We didn't go, because my mother was in hospital and so was I.
So not only had you lost your father and your boyfriend, you weren't able to go to the funerals?
No. They were buried at Chinkford Cemetery. Well, my father was, my boyfriend was in Stoke Newington Cemetery.